1, 2, 3.
Yes, it's the Late Late Breakfast Show with your host, Bernie J. Mitchell.
Are you in?
Are you in?
Good morning and welcome to the Late Late Breakfast Show, which is now here on Blab. It was originally a lovely event in London, and then I got scared of going out, so I turned it into a podcast, which is going even better. And my guest today, for about the 15th time, is the lovely Anne Hawkins from, where is it? Is it Oxford or Bristol or Leeds? Somewhere. Where is it?
I'm giving you a hard stare.
Those hard stares turn into pregnant pauses on podcasts.
I'm in the beautiful, beautiful university city of Cambridge.
Lovely.
Cambridge, UK, not
Massachusetts.
Not the other one.
Not the other one. So, what are you known for, Anne? And what would you like to be known for?
I think I'm mostly known for beating you up, aren't I?
Yes, that turns out to be a highly profitable business. And what would you like to be known for?
I'd like to be known as the person who managed to make Bernie turn up on time.
I nearly did. That was good. So shall I ask that again?
No, I think what I'm known for. I'll be serious. Excuse me. I find it hard to be serious with you, as you know, because I just love talking to you. Always have. So what I'm known for, I guess, is helping owners of small businesses to make a bit more profit, not work hard, and actually to enjoy the life that they're trying to lead. Which question did I answer?
That's what you're known for. What you'd like to be known for.
Oh, yeah, what I'd like to be known for is one of the people who has helped small businesses not to fail in the first 5 years, because so many of them do, and it's just a tragedy. You know, people start a business with all their hopes and dreams, and then they get caught up in this awful hamster wheel of I must work harder, and then it all goes down the pan. And they feel like a failure, and it's not because of anything that they've done. You know, nobody's taught them how to run a business. They're good at what they do, which is, you know, photography or plumbing or whatever it is they started a business for. But nobody's ever taught them that there are other things involved in running a business, and they, you know, it's not rocket science. It's just a bit boring. So I guess what I'm about is helping them to do the boring bits so that more businesses succeed.
So for the context of this illustrious podcast, is the people I've got to know most over the last 3 years are people that run co-working spaces, and I always think that's a bit like running a restaurant, because you have to attract people in and create a community and serve people in a way, and there's a lot of being on site, so it's quite hard to leave it at home and walk out the door. So could we sort of follow the co-working, sort of how not to fuck up your co-working space, which would be a great title, in that context, because that's the people I'm closest to at the moment. And I know you know a few co-working spaces, and we know the same people. So obviously we're not talking about any of them. But what are the boring bits that people misstep over in a co-working space? And I'd just like to add, the reason I don't run a co-working space is because I love the idea of it, and I'm a really great community member, but I would find some of those bits really, really boring. Where would you start with that?
Well, I think the place I have to start really is to say that this poster behind me is a book I wrote. My co-author is Ed Goodman, who runs the Cambridge Business Lounge, which is a co-working space. So most of the knowledge that I have about running these kinds of places does come from watching Ed, because, you know, I was there when he. In fact, I cut the red ribbon. My claim to fame: cut the ribbon when the Cambridge Business Lounge opened.
How very Prince Charles of you.
Now you're making me think of Spike Milligan, and I shall go off on a tangent, but I won't do that.
Nice.
So watching the Cambridge Business Lounge grow over the last 3 years and become the place it is now is really what I'm going to I guess my experience of what's happened and how these places can succeed. Now, you mentioned two interesting things when you opened this conversation. You said that co-working space is a bit like a restaurant because you have to invite people in. But then you talked about community. Well, the last thing I want when I go to a restaurant is to be invited to be part of a community. And I think that there is this big gap there between people who just want to go and do some work and go away again. And yes, they'll be friendly and polite and sociable, but they don't want to be part of a community, a tribe, something bigger than what they're trying to do, which is run their own business. So there is a big problem there between what the owner of the co-working space wants to create and what the people who go there go for. So I think that's a big thing to get over, and maybe it is about people coming along and thinking, well, if you're going to try and drag me into all this community stuff, it's not for me, and they go away and don't come back. And the ones that stick are the ones that are part of a community or part of a tribe.
That's really interesting. So when I go to a co-working space, there's a delay here, isn't there? Carry on talking, and I'll save you.
I was going to say maybe the people who don't want to be part of that more of a community feeling type of place or sharing type of place are the ones that go off and go to a more anonymous style of serviced office where you're not expected to be part of anything. You just go pay your rent and do what you do, and somebody answers your phone calls. Which is a very different experience. So maybe there are, it is about two kinds of people. And so if you want to be doing the first kind, which is about the community, the tribe, getting people involved, you have to be aiming at a very specific type of person and a very specific type of personality as well.
I was going to say there is quite often when I go to a co-working space, I like to sit in the corner and just get on with my stuff. And I'm always torn between being part of the community and interacting with people, which is really, really, really important. And then the introvert in me, and I find it really hard to concentrate person gets drawn to the table in the corner furthest away from everybody, so I can just sit down and get on with it. But there's a co-working Europe and other co-working conferences I've been to, there's always a discussion about building this community, and it's taken, like at Mainyard and Work Hubs, it's taken a long time for the community to work itself out, which is I thought right at the beginning you could just, I was one of those awful people that would run around thinking you could just follow these 3 steps and have a community instantly, but that's obviously not how it works, and I knew that at the time. Let me make a little bridge into that grey area of monetizing your community or making a profit out of your community, because you need to assemble a group of people, and we've both seen people do that amazingly well, and it's like nice and fair, and we've seen people accumulate people, quietly lure people into a room and then carpet bomb email them. So how do you work that bit out?
Depends what you're in business for. If a co-working space is a business, it has to make money. And, the way you do that is by charging people to come. And the other side of that coin is that you then provide them with a service that they really want, because if they don't want it, they're not going to pay for it. And it's back to it really of, what do people want when they come to a co-working space? If they want to sit quietly and not be interrupted, and just have water cooler moments when they need them, then that's what you need to provide. If people are coming for something else, if they want to be part of some kind of tribe or community where there is collaboration and shared projects and stuff like that, then that's a different kind of offering. So it's the same as any other business, Bernie, and you know that as well as I do. You've got to decide who you want to attract, and that's who you go for. You can't do both. You can't sell a list of you can do this or do that. You've got to go for one thing and build that up, and then perhaps once you've got that established, go for something else. So
let me jump to the social media question as well, because like that social media. My social media works for me because I'm just very connected to a few people, but they're people I'm, have relationships with. I'm not, my social media doesn't necessarily form part of my sales funnel. So you said this yesterday, and it's played on my mind all the time. As soon as someone says I'm starting a business, a load of marketers appear from nowhere with social, probably like me, but appear from nowhere with social media strategies, and you should be doing this. And if only you understood what I understood about the internet. So, and quite like in a co-working space. And if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but people don't suddenly walk into a co-working space after a tweet. So, where should I spend my energy if I ran a space?
Right, let's unravel that a bit, because what we were talking about yesterday was how social media seems to have become the answer to every business problem. It doesn't matter what you post on any forum or who you ask in any organisation. If you're networking or something, how do I get more customers? How do I get more attention? Everybody talks about Facebook and Twitter, and well, maybe not Twitter these days, but it's all about social media. Getting out to the masses is the thing. But when you ask people, well, how many can you want? How many customers do you need to make a decent business? In a very small business, it's often only, I don't know, one a month. Or 12 that stick around for a year, and that's all people are looking for. So what's the point of going out to and spending pay-per-click or creating adverts on Facebook that go all over the world when what you want is 12 people who are already in your neighbourhood? And the easiest way to find them, as it always has been, is to go out and do face-to-face networking.
You said the networking word.
I did.
Yeah. What are your networking recommendations this week? Because I didn't even think that question through before I asked it. So, what sort of events do you find you get the most value from? That's what I meant to ask.
I always go to events where I'm going to learn something. I never, ever, ever go to events where I'm just milling around in room, making good contacts. That's and anything that says bring lots of business cards, I would run a mile from. Yeah. Because that's not what it's about. It's feeding right back to the beginning. I go to events where I want to learn something. From the speaker or whatever it is that's going on, and other people are going there for the same reason, so we already have something in common, and that's where the relationship starts to build. So is that, because I'm going to ask you a question and I think you already know the answer, and what my answer would be is, do you think a different type of person goes to a networking event versus go to learn something event and I run a business? I'm not sure what the question was. Is it or let me reframe it like this. So I just found when I go to networking events, there's a we're pretending we're here to build relationships, but really we're here to stick business cards on people's foreheads. And then I've same as you, when I go to industry events or stuff where I'm going to learn something, the more robust collaborations come out of that. And when I say collaborations, I mean projects that turn into something to work on rather than me selling you my product. I think there's perhaps people who are new to business go along to networking events because they've been told it's a good place to go to get contacts, to make, to get new business. And so they go with a sales hat on, they go along expecting that this is the kind of thing that people do at networking events, or maybe they've had an experience themselves where they've gone along and been sold to, so they think that's the done thing. And so people who don't like that kind of thing, who understand that in order to sell to someone you have to build a relationship first, they just won't have that kind of stuff. So you two different kinds of people: the people who go along expecting to sell, thinking that's acceptable, and the people who go along thinking that's the worst thing in the world, and there's no way you're going to get to know people if you shove your business card in their face. So I've got two more points as we move along. Is with events and co-working spaces, and the example I'm going to go for is one of the themes at Co-working Europe was
when just discussions in the corridor was you spending a lot of energy getting people into your co-working space is not going to generate you new customers. It's actually going out and meeting people. And, in your experience, how would you, if you had to raise awareness of your co-working space in a physical manner, like meeting people, would you get people into your space or would you go out and meet people?
I think
that's not really an either or. It's like, what's your recommendation around that?
Yeah. The very best form of marketing, as you know well, is word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting other people to be your advocates. So I would put a third layer on that. Instead of the owner of the space going out and trying to get new people in or inviting people in, I would say just find out what value you're creating for the people who are already your customers. What are they really getting out of coming to your space? And then use that to attract people like them. So use their recommendations, use their networks, use their word of mouth stuff to find the people who are like them, who trust them, and who would take their word for it over yours to come and try it out. This week we've got half term, bring your kid to work week or whatever it is. Have a bring your mate to work week at a co-working space and get them to try it out, and give them a free trial or something like that. So it's stepping back from doing it all yourself and being the face of the place, because the place is about the people who work there, not about the person who runs it.
That's profound. And on a very, very serious note, it's a really good tip there. What about, how do incentives work in your experience? So, introduce a friend to the space and, get a cash thing or Marks and Spencer's voucher or that type of thing. What does that fire you up?
I know how that works for me, which is, if I like something, I'll recommend it anyway. If I think it's going to do somebody some good, I'll tell them about it. I don't need any incentive to do that because that's how I work. And the very last thing I would want is for someone to think, I've invited you here because I'm going to get something out of it. So for me, it's a big, big turn off on every level.
Do you know Edgar, the social media platform? Meet Edgar, sorry.
Meet Edgar, no.
So they did a link in the show notes. They did a post about why they haven't got a sign up to my product scheme, and it was one of those things like, oh yeah, that's really obvious, because they want people to recommend it and not be. There's a lot of people on the internet who would say that like they're doing something wrong, but they have I've got this on my site. There's products that I've used for most of them more than 5 years now, but I get a kickback or I get a credit when you do that. So part of the incentive is for putting that page on my site is to get a kickback. But I can always look people in the eye and say I've been using that for a long time, but there's people who will put stuff just because they get the kickback and not really know about it, and that produces it becomes a cash affiliate rather than a solid referral.
Yeah.
But the post explains that much more eloquently than I just have.
Yeah, no, I agree, and as two long-term bloggers, I think we probably could be classed as veteran bloggers these days, Bernie. But as two people who've seen how blogging has grown and grown, you must get 20 offers a week, as I do, to put sponsored links in your blog posts, and get $100 a time or something like whatever. But what that would do to your readership is just, there's no way I would do that. I just think it's nuts. On the other hand, I'm involved in a project called Pitch for People, which we'll be launching next month. And we've got a whole resources and tools section on there where people are recommending to each other the tools that they use to make their lives better and to make working easier. So we've got a section for that on the new website when it launches. And we will be looking to some of those people to sponsor the site or to become affiliate, to have affiliate links on the site, so that we can help to provide a free service to the people who sign up. And I think when it's as transparent as that, when it's actually in a little box that says affiliate link or whatever it is, and you've also got the social proof of the people who've used it within the site, then that's a different thing altogether. So it can work, but it's got to be managed really well and totally transparent.
I love that. I crave transparency. I was one last question is, which is kind of going back 3 paragraphs, but what are in the book and the course you have? What are the I know, what bit are people most crap at? Like the mess up the most? Is it finance or marketing, or where do they get confused over and need the most help with? Is the more elegant way of saying it.
Okay. The reason Ed and I wrote the book, the New Business Next Steps book, was because, about 98% of small businesses fail before they get to their 5th birthday. And most of them do that because they run out of money. So they're not managing the finances properly. They're not doing daily cash flow. They haven't got their pricing right, and managing the costs and all that kind of stuff. Because like I said earlier, that's not why they go into business. The reason I wrote the online program, which is the Work Smart Not Hard program, is because I wanted to go into a lot more depth with people to find out exactly what they are struggling with, so they can choose from a whole range of worksheets and tell me what it is they're struggling with, and then I can help them with that specific thing. And the reason I did that was because I met a guy who's a picture framer, and he had been running his business for quite some time. He'd hired 4 more people because he was getting lots and lots of work coming in. But the more he sold, the less money he made. And that was because he hadn't got his pricing right. He hadn't got his profit margins right. And after he ran out of money and he had to make 4 people redundant, he said to me, I wish someone had told me how to make a business plan so that I could have made this work. And that just, it just really, really bugs me, because it's such a simple thing to do once people know that those resources are there. So that's what the online program's all about. It's teaching people to get those business basics right, so that they can carry stuff they really love doing, which is why they started the business in the first place.
What's that when you say business plan? What do you mean? Obviously, I know what a business plan is.
But this is the trouble, you see, because you mentioned business plan and everybody goes, there. I made a business plan because I wanted to get an overdraft at my bank, or a loan from the bank, and you make a plan, which is mostly fiction.
Yeah. And
then once you've got the loan, you stick it in a drawer. You never look at it again in 10 years if you survive that long. Now, what I'm talking about is looking at who you're selling to, what price they will pay. So looking at it's not how much something plus 10%. It's looking at what people will pay for what you're offering and how you can make the most profit. I've got a lovely little crib sheet of 6 easy ways to make more profit in your business, and that they are such simple things. So it's having all of that, and it's saying, how much money do I need to survive? How much would be really nice to have? What's my dream income? And making a plan based on that. So you take those figures and you break it down into, if it's going to take me 3 years to get there, what do I need to do this year? And then what do I need to do every month this year? How many sales calls does that mean? How much money am I going to make? How much profit am I going to make? And really working it out like that. So you've got a plan that you can follow every day. So every day you open up your business and you're not waiting for things to happen. You're not waiting for the emails to come in or the phone calls to come in. You've got a plan to follow that is going to make you money. And that's your business plan. And if you do that every day and get into the habit of doing that every day, it'll work. It really, really works. And once you've broken it down like that, it's pretty simple.
That's what I was looking for, because I'll get a business plan, but like for the what Niels and I work on and what we're doing in WeShare, we haven't sat down and written a Magna Carta thing. No. Most of it lives in Trello, and changes every day. But we touch base on what we're going to do every day, and we've got a general idea of where we're going. Yeah. But if a bank manager looked at it, he would be on the internet, so he wouldn't understand it, and it wouldn't make any sense to that type of thing. But the whole, I'm glad you said fiction about business plan. Anyway, I feel we're going to be coming back and doing this again. So where's the best place to find you online, and what's the best thing you're working on at the moment that you'd like to point people in the direction of?
Okay, best place to find me online is usually Twitter. So you've got my Twitter name up here at Anne Hawkins. In fact, if you just put my name into Google, you'll find me in all sorts of different places. The thing that I'd really like people to have a look at right now is the online course, which is called worksmartnothard.co, not .com, .co. It's a 7-week plan. You can take as long as you like to do it. It's interactive. It's highly personalised, which means that I get inside you, I get inside your business and help you to run it and make more profit.
Gorgeous. Okay, and thanks very much again for your time and for all your support and help and love and jokes and Foursquare sticks over the years, Anne. And we'll see you soon. Bye bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
I miss Foursquare. Bye.
Please go to berniejmitchell.com/podcast. Bernie would love your feedback.